Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members, sharing tips on how to get the most out of your BNI membership. Tony Meredith is my name, and ordinarily I'm a business host, but today I'm your host and fellow BNI member. I'm really looking forward to having a terrific conversation today. This episode is number 30, and today's guest is Gary Somerville. Gary, g'day, mate.
Hey Tony, how are you, mate?
Mate, I'm doing really well. Thank you for being here. Now, let's kick things off by you telling us a little bit about who you are and what your business is and what you do.
Yeah, so Gary Somerville's my name. I've been in BNI since around 2017, and I've been running my own business for about 13 years now. I started off as a sole trader with some doing some part-time bookkeeping work for people, and I joined up with another bookkeeper in 2021, and we've grown the business exponentially since then. So
And what's the business name, Gary?
it's BAAS Bookkeeping,
Okay.
BAAS. It's a bit of a play on
BAAS Bookkeeping.
BAAS, a bit of play on words with obviously doing your BAAS, but it actually originally stood for Bookkeeping and Administration Services, but we've recently changed it to Bookkeeping and Advisory Services. So
I like it. So it is a nice play on words.
yeah,
And from a clientele point of view, Gary, I know you're based in Brisbane, but I mean, where are your clients based?
yeah, well, predominantly in Southeast Queensland, but we've expanded. We've got quite a number of clients now in Victoria. I've got a staff member down that way, and the Sunny Coast, we have a staff member there, and we're growing our business there. Not that as a bookkeeper you don't necessarily need to be in the same location, which is really nice. You can work for people who are at distance, so that works quite well. Yeah.
And you mentioned advisory services. So what's an example of some advice or advisory services that you offer, Gary?
Yeah. So increasingly, we're doing things like financial reporting these days where people are asking for monthly financial reports. They might be asking for information like, their labor ratio, for example, or they want to know the gross profit margin trend or things like that. So these are all numbers that can be pulled out of your accounting software. A lot of businesses don't use them. A lot of small businesses don't use them. Bigger businesses do. And we're just trying to encourage small and medium-sized businesses to get access to the information that they actually already have. So,
And just on this topic, so would there be a couple of key reports that you would suggest that business owners look at, and how often should they look at their books, Gary?
yeah, well, I guess it depends on the business and the business owner and what their role in that business is. But somebody should be looking at your numbers, on a minimum weekly basis. Now, the business owner themselves might have a slightly more removed operational part in the business, so they might be looking things on a monthly basis. But I'm a great believer that everyone should know their numbers to some level, and so there's probably 4 or 5 key numbers that we all, no matter what our role is in our business, we all need to keep a track of. And I personally try and keep a track of those 4 or 5 numbers every week. But there are some business owners that are happy just to look at that on a monthly basis. But I wouldn't be suggesting any longer than that.
Gotcha. All right. Now let's talk about BNI. So you mentioned that
Yeah,
you started in BNI back in 2017.
yeah.
What was it that prompted you to get involved in BNI?
Well, I used to be a part owner in an electrical contracting business, and my business partner Chris at the time, he held the domestic electrical seat at BNI Aurora, and which is out on Brisbane's north side, and he took me along as a visitor, and I loved it. I was pretty busy at the time, and I thought, oh, geez, if I get into this BNI, I'm going to need to expand, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that. And so I subbed for him for a little while, and then he came back one day and said, the bookkeeper in the chapter's leaving. You got to take the seat. And I went, oh, do I? Okay. So I took his advice and went along and put an application in pretty much straight away. I knew the bookkeeper in that chapter had done really well over the years they'd been in the chapter, and I thought, well, this might be a way for me to kickstart and grow my business. So yeah, that's sort of how it came about.
And did it? I mean, did it do all that you thought it would do?
Yeah, it did. Uh, I was, I th It was a slow burn at first, and but that's the nature of BNI, and we'll probably talk about a little bit of that later. But yeah, um, definitely got a lot out of it. Even when you know, probably didn't make a lot of money in the first year, but I was learning so much, and I was hanging around a better class of business owner, and I realised what I didn't know about the networking caper and also business. There are a lot of things in business that I was green to, and BNI really taught me some of that.
So, was that a difficult decision for you, Gary, going from year one to year two, given that you didn't make a lot of money in year one, and BNI is an annual membership. So, I mean, what
Yeah.
sort of a process did you go through? Because obviously you went on to year two and beyond, but what process did you go through to make that decision?
Well, I was very lucky. I had a business partner in another seat, and he said, he gave me some advice. And there was a lady in the chapter. She helped the um, real estate seat in the chapter, and um, she took me under her wing in the first year, and she said to me, um, the best thing you can do in BNI is just renew year one. And she told me that, 3 or 4 times in the lead up to my renewal, and I thought, right, well, it's working for Marilyn. It might work for me. So yeah, so I was pretty much going to give it 2 years, but I did and ah a bit at the end of that first year. But yeah, from that time on, never ever regretted it. So
It's interesting because my story is similar. In my year one, so I'm coming into my fifth year, but in my year one, I got nothing, no business, zero. And I went through a similar process to will I, won't I? And like you said, I had a number of people in my chapter say, stick it out, give it time, be consistent, etc. And obviously here I am. But it's interesting to know that it's not just me. There's others as well that your year one may not meet your expectations, but stick with it because the process absolutely works.
yeah, I agree totally. And I can tell you that, I think, well, I did a little bit better than you. I guess the bookkeeping seat is a good one from that perspective. You tend to pick up some work, and so I think I might have taken about 20 grand the first year, but I put a lot of time into getting that 20 grand. I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not sure we actually made any money here, and we probably didn't. But year two, we went to 60, and year three, I went to 133. Um, and and the nature of what I do as well, I get ongoing clients, right? So it was always going to be that sort of projection. Now that when I look back on it, but of course at the time I was a bit impatient for all that, and a little bit green to it. So, but yeah, it certainly paid itself off very handsomely in the later years.
So, how's being part of a BNI chapter influenced your approach to networking, Gary?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much changed it completely. I used to belong to a couple of Chamber of Commerce groups, and I'd go along each month, and you'd be familiar, Tony, um, with the saying "spray and pray," and so I used to do a bit of spray and pray, and hand out a whole heap of business cards and stand around having a few drinks and nibbles with people, And but there wasn't really a system. There wasn't really any accountability. You could do as much or as little as you like, and no, you know, no one was counting on you to do anything, and vice versa. So, and I found that with most groups that I'd sort of gone along to, and yeah, I found BNI. I just absolutely loved the accountability of it, and I just knew straight away that, yeah, well, I won't say straight away. I knew certainly after the first 9, 10 months that, yeah, this is 100% the way to go. And yeah, so yeah, it's a big part of our marketing strategy, and it's probably one thing that I tell newer BNI members is, put BNI into your marketing strategy. And it's amazing how many don't. They see it as a separate, oh, I've got to go to the BNI thing, and then I go back and then I have to do some marketing. Well, actually, it's in your strategy, and once you build it into the strategy, it actually, yeah, I just think it flows so much better after that.
Well, like you said, it's an extension, so there'll be those out there who want to, promote on social media or maybe, promote in other forums, do SEO marketing, whatever it might be. This is yet another vehicle to go and market your business. Going back to your comment earlier around spray and pray, I describe that, Gary, as inch deep, mile wide. That is, I'm just skimming the surface. I'm going to all these places and I'm meeting some lovely people. But the real magic in the BNI form of networking is inch wide, mile deep. That is, I have narrow focus, but I get really deep and I start to work hard on building those know, like, and trust relationships with my fellow BNI members.
I like that. I'm going to steal that, Tony.
There you go. That's yours for free, Gary. Luckily, it's just you and I chatting by ourselves. So that's no one else is listening or watching.
That's exactly right.
So how has your business evolved since joining BNI, and what role has networking played in that growth, Gary?
Yeah, so I was when I started in BNI, I had one staff member, and we were probably, I don't know, maybe turning over around the 200 grand mark at the time. And so since joining BNI, my business has grown fourfold, and actually have an ambitious plan to grow another fourfold in the next 3 years. So we'll see how that comes about. But yeah, and BNI has been a massive part of that, and I've been introduced to people, and they've introduced me to people that I never thought I could get into my network, and it's, yeah, we're in 3 BNIs now. My business partner Rachel, she's at Leaders. I've got a staff member on the sunny coast at Powerhouse. So we clearly see it as a way in which we can grow our business, and as we grow, it'll be the chicken and egg stuff. We'll probably end up with another BNI at some point. One will come first. Either we'll grow enough, or we'll need to grow enough.
Or we need to grow. And it's interesting, in doing these podcasts, Gary, I've met a lot of other BNI members who, a bit like you, are in multiple chapters, whether it be in 2 chapters, 3 chapters, 4 chapters, so clearly you see the value of BNI, like you said, as part of your marketing strategy, so much to the point where you're prepared to, invest in putting your staff members or partners into other chapters.
Yeah, and the other advantage you get is that the growth I've seen in my staff member in particular, just in going and attending those meetings each week, and standing up and just watching her confidence grow as part of that process. So there's obviously, at the end of the day, you're looking for some sort of close business return on investment, but there's a lot of other things that I'm getting out of it now, particularly with my team, that are a little bit intangible in terms of being able to measure, but they're very real.
So please share with the listeners and the viewers what some of those, intangibles are, Gary.
Yeah. So, I've got not this particular staff member. I've got another staff member who would, standing up in front of someone would be, just, not even possible. She wouldn't be able to do that. But she's subbed over the years, and she's done a number of things now, and it just great to see her confidence grow. And when you get into a BNI chapter, I remember there's a guy. He might even be known to you. He might even been on your podcast, Nick Parry.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he tells this story himself, so he won't mind me sharing it. But he stood up at his first BNI and promptly sat back down because he just couldn't speak. He couldn't get a word out of his mouth. And if you know Nick now, you'll know that his growth in terms of being confident enough to stand in front of people is just huge. So I always think about Nick when I see brand new people walk into the room, and I actually say you did a hell of a lot better than some people. And so, but yeah, it's and there's I encourage my guys to jump on leadership teams because you get exposed to an even better class of BNI member again, and so there's all these there's all these other things that you get out of it, and I'm noticing that the conversion rate with our clients is improving as well because they're much more comfortable. They've gone out to one-to-ones and they've worked out how to do those one-to-ones properly and well. And now they're having much more meaningful meetings with our prospects and our new clients. And so, there's been a heap of advantages there just in running the process.
Yeah, like you said, Gary, it's that personal development, it's the confidence, it's that competence, being compelled to stand up twice every week, and you can't help but get better over a period of time. And it's been interesting, again, doing these podcasts, listening to people talk about early on the fear and the trepidation around standing up in front of people, and now weeks, months, years on, they absolutely look forward to the opportunity to showcase their business and see how they can help their fellow BNI members. So I'm pleased for you and your business that you're seeing the fruits of not just the commercial reality, but also that improvement in personal development.
Yeah, and I know for myself, like I'm a bit of a rambler, right? As people probably be able to tell on this podcast. So I'm a bit of a rambler, right? So the discipline of, that 45, for us, it's 45 seconds, for some it's 60, but the discipline of that each week and writing a little script and reading it to yourself, and that discipline goes through to all different parts of your business. And I've found, I'm much better now at, right, I've got 30 minutes for this meeting with this business owner, and I'm much more focused on what I'm doing. Yeah.
Succinct, very
succinct. That's the word.
With your message. Very good. Gary, what advice would you give to new BNI members to make the most out of their membership?
Yeah, I think the very best thing you can do is, first of all, identify who are the 3 to 5 members in that room who have the ability to put you in front of your ideal client. So hone in on those people, and I want to be, I'm lucky, well, I'm actually in my third BNI chapter for different reasons, and I feel like a brand new member, and I am a brand new member to the chapter that I've joined about 3 months ago, and so I've been going through this being a brand new BNI member, even though I have about 7 years experience with it. So it's fantastic, right? And I'm loving it. But what I'm doing at the moment is honing in on the 3 to 5 members who I know have the ability to put me in front of my ideal client. And then my goal is to be visible and credible with those 3 to 5 members to start with, and to try and find referrals for them. And if I give us gain those people, I know that it's going to come back around at some point. And so that's been my focus in starting with this particular chapter, this particular time. And and so far so good.
Amazing. You mentioned before that you want to grow your business fourfold, which is exciting. So, I mean, how is BNI going to play a role in that for you, Gary?
Yeah. I've said it on a podcast now, Tony. It looks like I'm committed to it, isn't it?
100%. That's it. It's accountability.
The business coach will come out in you now, and you go, "Well, there you go."
Hey, we've got it forever in the history books.
That's it. So BNI is obviously going to be a part of that. We see that as there's new chapters opening up all the time, and as we get more capacity within our team and people that we think are a really good fit for BNI, and in fact we use it as part of our recruitment process now. We actually look at people that we think could eventually go in and work well in a BNI. So I can see us growing more chapters. My goal is to belong to a chapter in every state, and that's that'll go that'll go a fair way towards that big, hairy, audacious goal that I've set us.
I love it. I love it. Very exciting. And again, lucky it's just you and I here, just having that conversation. If you could share one piece of wisdom with our listeners, whether in BNI or not, what would it be, Gary?
I think I did have a bit of a think about this because I think, a bit like what we've done recently is imagine your business in 3 years' time. Imagine your business in 3 years' time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be expansion. Like for some people, their business in 3 years' time is, transition to retirement. Their business in 3 years' time is, a whole heap of other things. Think about the business that you'd really like to have and plan that out and make that real in your mind. And I know once I've created the discipline to that, then it's amazing how it's aligned my thinking and the way that I fill my days in terms of moving towards that. So can't recommend that more highly. Be it a 12-month or 3-year sort of strategy plan that says, well, this is what I think it will look like, and I think that's probably the best advice. I would have loved to have done that sooner in my business.
Well, it's amazing advice, and I would describe that as start with the end in mind. So like you said, whether it be a 12-month goal or strategy, a 36-month goal, it doesn't really matter. Just for all the business owners out there, then get clear on where you want your business to be at a particular point in time. And then, as you said, every single day, make decisions, take actions that take you towards that. And it's uncanny how when you do that consistently and persistently, then you'll achieve that goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Great advice, Gary. Thank you. How can listeners learn more about your business or get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find us at baasbookkeeping.com.au. Or if you're a BNI member, look me up on the system and track me down under the bookkeeping category. I'm at BNI Business Power Team. We're out at Aspley, at Aspley Hornets there. Love to connect with people. There's no such thing as a bad one-to-one as far as I'm concerned. Very rarely do I get. I can't remember getting 0 out of a one-to-one. I always get something out of it. May not always be business, but I'll get a connection or something else, some other bit of wisdom. So yeah, reach out for a one-to-one. Love to chat to people. Yeah.
Amazing. Fantastic. Thank you, Gary. Really appreciate it. Well, look, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. I hope that you enjoyed today's discussion, and I want to extend a massive thank you to Gary Somerville for sharing his insights and wisdom with us. If you found value in today's episode, then please remember to subscribe to the BNI Effect on all of your favorite podcast platforms. And until next time, enjoy your networking, and thank you for listening.